Welcome to this quick introduction about calculated fields in on-site construction cloud. What we're going to be doing today is I'm going to show you quickly, and kind of tell you what are the prerequisites to using calculated fields in our system. Then we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you a quick example to understand what it entails, how it is used, and then we're going to discuss, and show an example, well, two examples. I'm going to show you one example that's very simple of how to create a simple form with calculated fields, and another one that really uses these calculated fields in a complex workflow where you have more than one form included in a template. Let's start with the prerequisites. The prerequisites are simple, to be able to create, and use these calculated fields, you need to be a project administrator. So to be able to create the forms and the workflows related to these, you need access to the administration section. And if you're not a project administrator, you don't have access to the administration section. So that's number one. Number two, I expect that if you're viewing this video, that you have completed at least courses 101 through 105, because that helps you in understanding what forms are, what workflows are, and how to use them in the system. And it would be very helpful if you've also completed the training regarding digital forms creation. If you don't know about these things, well, I'm going to include them in the comment section, or actually in the description of this video, so that you can simply redirect yourselves there and go through these before you start learning more about calculated fields. Okay, so that's a prerequisite. Being a project admin, covering courses 101 through 105, and knowing about digital forms. Let's talk about calculated fields themselves. So what are calculated fields? I'm going to show you a quick example here from the mail section, and then we can, discuss this more. Okay, let's see it. I'm going to go into an existing form. So what I'm showing you here is a simple example. Okay, let's go to another one. Oh, did it the same. So this is a simple example of an existing form on site that I created. Okay, I'll show you in a minute how to create a similar one. And what I'm going to do is just include some numbers here. Okay, so I'm going to include 1, 2, 3. And it's going to automatically calculate, as you see, sum formula. So in this case, we did sum minus a max. So the sum of these three numbers is 6. The max is 3. So 6 minus 3 is 3. That's correct. And the formula works. This other part, we're going to talk about in a minute. So existing total, which is basically this one, plus an external field. So this could be a field that's coming from, that's another form. Okay, but in this case, since we are in the mail, we're just using, a single form. So we just have the sum minus max, which is the 3. Okay, that's why the number here is 3. So again, this is what we're talking about. If you're interested to learn more about how to create these, fields and how to use them, proceed and, continue watching this video. Otherwise, you can drop off at this point. Now, let me show you how to use these. Basically, first, a simple example would be a daily report, right? In a daily report, we have several numbers here that are going to be added to calculate the manpower on a site on a particular date. And instead of having to do these manual calculations, you can have a calculated field, and it will add up the total manpower easily itself. Okay, I think I have a simple example here about this number of workers, I think. Let's see. Okay, so that's an example, simple example of engineers, foremen, and labor. So I can just have something like that. So it's calculating automatically the total for, okay? Okay, how do we create something like that? I'm going to use a simple form. Okay, I'm going to create a simple form that's basically a normal form, so not a digitalized form. You can do the same with digitalized forms. It works perfectly with both, but I'm going to show you the example from normal form because it's easier for me just to create it right now. So I'm going to just drag a label. I'm going to drag, a couple of, we had 3 numbers there. Let's add 4 numbers here just to make it a little bit different. I'm going to call it calculated fields training. Second. All right, got it. Here, just CF training. And CF train as TRA as the code. And number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. I'm going to make it fast, believe me. Okay, I'm going to save and continue just so that these fields are now known to the form and everything is ready. Then I'm going to drag this calculated field. This is where the magic will take place. So let's do here a simple max. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to type in max. You don't need to write equals like in Excel, just write max. And notice, since we are in the calculated fields, notice these borders. These blue borders mean that basically you can start using these fields. Just going to click on it. Okay. Come on. And now we have the max between these 4 numbers. That's how simple it is. If you want to know what are the formulas that you can use and what are the operators, all of these things, simply click on this information icon. Click on this information icon. It shows you how to use the calculated fields, inserting fields into a formula, then the arithmetic operators, the comparison and logical operators, functions, all of these in a very simple manner, including the external fields that we're going to use a little bit later. And it shows you exactly, how the, an example or how to really use the syntax of these formulas. Okay, so simple. Let's try it out. Just simply save this form. Okay, I'm going to test it out in the mail section. So I'm just going to go to mail. Then we're going to use it, of course, in a workflow. So bear with me a second. We did call it calculated fields, or CF, right? CF training. That's it. Okay, so now we have the formula here. It's just a max. I'm going to just put 3, 4, 5, and 9. So automatically, while we're working on it, it's calculating the max and it got it right. Okay, that's how simple it is. It's very simple, as I said. Okay, now I'm gonna move to a more elaborate example where I'm gonna be creating, or basically simply using an existing one, maybe a workflow with more than one form. Okay, and then I'm gonna use an external field from one form to include it in the other. Okay, let me show you an example. Let's just take this example. Okay, so what I did here is basically include 2 forms and 2 steps. These 2 steps are simple. Okay, I created step 1 with any participant. I included, the fields from the form, and without any condition, go to step 2. And similarly, in step 2, I added the fields from the other form and no condition, it ends. Okay, so very, very simple workflow. Now, the extra part is this, the map external fields. What does this mean? So if we go back to the form that we created, the CF training, okay, we could have added something like this. So here in the max formula, that calculated field, I could add an external field. So if I clicked on this one, it adds an external field Notice that it's just saying external field. It's not, there's no name like the existing ones in the current form, because it's an external field that we're gonna get from another form. So we don't really know its name yet. We don't really know the label of it yet. So it's gonna just say, okay, there's an external field here. Okay. And then what's gonna happen whenever we're creating the template is that we're going to have a map external field. When we click on it, it's going to show you. So here I have two forms included: number of workers form and calculated fields form. Okay. Notice this is the one that we used in the beginning of this video. So it had the engineers, the foreman, and the labor. It just calculates the sum. I have another one that's called calculated fields. I think I can show it to you somewhere here. We have it. So training, workers. Okay, anyway, I can show you the calculated fields. It's simply, it has number one, number two, additional number, and it just has the sum. Okay. Notice here, when I clicked on the map external fields, what does it show you really? So it shows you first, and the number of workers, that there's a calculated field called total. This is its formula. There are no external fields, so it's not linked. This calculation is not linked to another form. It shows that we also have in this workflow another form called calculated fields. It also has a calculated field that's called total. This is the formula that's included, and again, no link to an external field. However, in this same form called calculated fields, we have another calculated field that's called total with external. That's a little bit confusing calling it. Maybe now that I think about it, the calculated fields as the form name, and also, the field is kind of calculated field, right? But anyway, I think we're explaining it in the right way. So total with external, okay. This is another calculated field under this form, and the formula for it is a sum that includes total, which is this one, and an external field. Now, since here, there's no external fields, there's nothing like this appearing. Well, since here we have an external field, we have to map it. So this is what we're doing. We're mapping it here. We map it to a source. What's the source? It could be any of the other existing forms in this workflow. So here, since we have number of workers form and the calculated fields form, I can only select, from the other form, right? Because this one already exists in the calculated field. And then the field itself can choose from any of the existing, fields in number of workers form. These are the different fields. I'm choosing the total. I usually can save here, but since this one is already saved, I'm in view mode. I'm just going to close it. Okay. Let's go and use this calculated fields with two forms and form workflow. So this is how you use it. Let's go there. To calculated fields with two forms, start workflow. Just going to call it CF training 1. We have the steps, started. So here, in the first step, I can enter the different fields in number of workers, versus the second one, I can enter the ones in calculated fields. So let's start with this. We have number of engineers, number of foremen, number of laborers. That's 6. 2 plus 2 plus 2. Simple. We can now submit our review. To go to step 2 so that we can fill the calculated fields. So that's our workflow. I'm going to go back to it. Here, this part is already filled and I cannot edit anything because we are in step 2. Calculated fields. We're gonna just enter the same numbers, 2, 2, 2. The total here is 6. Again, it's the sum. And notice the total with external, it calculated. It added this 6 to this 6, and it showed us 12. So that's how simple it is. Okay, let's do it. 13. Let's make it, can't edit the first one, so let's make it 10 more. Okay, now we're at 21. Okay, so that's how simple it is. It's a very simple way to use these calculated fields with more than one form. As many forms as you want, you can do these calculations easily. So this is it. Okay. Again, these fields that we're creating here, the calculated fields, are reportable, so you can use them in the reports, the managed reports, and creating the new reports in the under workflows. This is how useful this data will be later on. And I want to remind everybody that it's very important to keep on reading these release notes where you reach this video, because these release notes are really sent out every couple of weeks whenever there's a new feature, and they help you in staying updated, with the latest on Onsite Construction Cloud releases. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more features.
Onsite. Construction management experts. Simplifying complexity, one process at a time.